Sydney homes to hit $7 million. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian Heise here and welcome to another episode of Heise Says. I thought we'd have to have a look at this article from the Daily Telegraph, shared by news.com.au. The average home prices will hit $7 million by 2030 in some Sydney regions if growth trends continue. Now this reminds me of some of the crypto Ponzi scams like BitConnect, where you invest and you get 30% per day and then you reinvest and it just grows and grows and grows and grows until sometime down in the future the value of this crypto money will be worth more than half the planet. So yeah, okay, sure, $7 million of fiat. What's its value in gold? That's the question. What's the value in a comparable asset? If, a house is worth $7 million, what will be the purchasing power of that $7 million in regards to other goods and commodities in the civilization, in the rest of the country? So let's have a look. Sydney real estate may cost an arm and a leg now, but it will be a steal compared to the prices future generations will pay. Okay, what is he basing this on? Is he basing it on population growth? Because there's assumptions with that. And I know we've got people that are arguing that population growth is just going to keep going. But you can see from this chart, we're not having natural population growth. The majority of it is coming from immigration. And there's a time delay for that. There is culture shock from moving from one region to another, depending on the differences between your cultures. The globalists will pretend that we're all interchangeable pegs, but we're not. There are some differences. And we're seeing that happen in different parts of Australia now. And if you go through history, that happens, guys. It's just part of history. So if you get someone coming from a culture where home ownership isn't as ingrained, you think they'll jump on the bandwagon? Maybe they're a bit more red-pilled. Maybe they're smarter, realizing going into millions of dollars of debt for a house isn't the stupidest, isn't the best thing to do. But still. Anyway, economic modeling, which is always accurate. Let's just bring up this, this chart here. We'll bring up this chart from the RBA. Economic modeling is always accurate. So economic modeling has revealed home buyers could be paying prices of up to $7.5 million on average in some city council areas by the end of 2030, double what they are currently. This assumes property values continue growing at the same average annual rate as over the past 30 years, a period characterized by recessions and economic booms, along with housing rises and downturns. We haven't had a recession in 28 years. We've had a few booms. We haven't had a recession since then. Is that the one he's referring to, the recession Australia had to have? Sydney house values increased by an average of 6.8% a year over the period, while the unit values grew by about 6.4% a year. But that was before we had all the issues with construction and declining consumer confidence. That's before we had, that's when we had huge foreign investments. You can see the black line there. If you're not familiar with this chart, that black line represents the percentage of building approvals as per the ABS that are for foreign investment in new housing. It was over 90% during the boom. Look at that plunge. So what are the fundamentals driving this growth? Why would Sydney prices increase that much? What is driving the economy? We don't know what's going to happen in the next 10 years. So, were the market to continue on this trajectory, a median-priced house in the Greater Sydney area, including the Blue Mountains and Central Coast, will cost $1.74 million in 2013, almost double the current median of $900,000 for a house like that. And we've got so much land here in Australia. A median-priced unit, meanwhile, will go from $695,000 currently to $1.24 million by the end of the next decade, according to the analysis by CoreLogic and ABS figures. Property experts warned one of the factors likely to keep prices growing was a dire supply of buildable land, which is one of the key drivers to house price growth in the past. But it also has to do with population increase. We've got the boomer generation that are going to start retiring. And we don't have another wave of people coming through at that point. We're putting all our hopes on immigration. But are people going to pay? If people are immigrating to Australia where they have to pay millions of dollars for a house, where they can go to other countries which has much cheaper housing, where do you think they're going to go? And countries that have an economy that is maybe a little bit more complicated than Australia, or maybe where our education, standards aren't plunging in relation to the world. Where do you think they're going to go? Why are they going to keep coming here? let me know, guys, please. But we don't. That's just negative thinking, Florian. You don't think about it. That's just going to go up and up and up forever. It's always going to be good. So housing supply is set to remain a major problem for the market in the years ahead, especially within the eastern suburbs and lower northern shore, where building approvals remain low and council laws severely restrict new development. So they've got, anyway. It's no surprise then that when Woollahra Council area, including Bellevue Hill, Vaucluse, and Point Piper, is expected to have the country's priciest houses in 2030, the median house price in the area will be $7.48 million. Mosman houses will cost about $6.8 million on average, while the typical Northern Beaches house will cost $5 million if historic growth trends continue. CoreLogic head of research Tim Lawless said these areas have been leading the recent resurgence in the housing market and tend to show the most consistent growth in prices over the long term. Okay, what he considers long term is based on the data they have, a 30-year window. Or if we look in the next 60 years. You think it'll hit that high in another 10 years' time, guys? You think it'll double in 10 years' time? Is that sustainable? What's going to drive it? Because it ain't wage growth, guys. It's not wage growth. What are the fundamentals? So Woollahra LGA prices increased by an average annual rate of 7.2% over the past 10 years, Mosman by 6.4%, and Northern Beaches prices by 6.8%. These areas are blue chip real estate, and they have been leading the real estate market recovery. They tend to be the areas that grow first, Mr. Lawless said. I thought they were the only ones recovering. If we looked at the video I did on Perth yesterday, they admitted that only the top quartile was increasing, the middle quartile was going down, the bottom was staying the same. Realestate.com.au chief economist Nerida Conisbee said there was a popular misconception that house prices doubled every 7 years. It usually takes a lot longer, she said. The past performance of a market was no guarantee of future growth, she added. There you go. So she's sensible. She is sensible. Remember when they used to say that all the time when they would advertise a financial product, when they'd have that on a website, when you'd see that on TV? Does anyone else remember hearing that all the time? But that seems to have gone out the window. I guess this is what people are calling hopium. Hopium. Quick, get in. This is more FOMO. This is more encouraging people to jump on the bandwagon and buy now. It's almost impossible to predict exactly what prices will be because of a lot of things that can change. But Sydney is likely to record strong growth in prices because of limited housing supply and strong migration, Ms. Conisbee said. Looking to the long term, buying real estate makes sense because you get more from your investment than if you're renting and buying other assets like shares. What about in Japan? Do you think the people who bought in the peak in Japan are happy with their long-term investment? Parramatta's median house price was expected to be at least $2.1 million in 2030 if historic growth continued, while a house in Liverpool will cost $1.26 million, up from $740,000 currently. Houses in the Penrith Council area, which at a median of $650,000 are currently among the cheapest in Sydney, that's cheap, will cost a much dearer $1.26 million in 2030, with average annual price growth in the region currently at 6.8%. But what is the quality of life like in Sydney? Would you want to live there, guys? I don't know. Every time I've been there, it's just felt very busy, very crowded, very Sydney. So let me know what you think. Do you think this is just more FOMO, designed to encourage people to jump in the market, make reckless decisions? Let me know your opinion in the comments below, guys. Will you be jumping out to buy one of these properties quickly, to secure it so you can double your money in 10 years? Anyway, like, share, and subscribe. If you enjoy my content and want to help us produce more, I have a Patreon where you can make a monthly donation. We have Amazon and eBay affiliate links where we receive a commission when you make a purchase, and it doesn't cost you a cent. It's a great way for you to support content creators you like. If they don't have one, tell them to get it. It's easy. We also have merchandise that we make ourselves and we sell on the Heise Says blog. And finally, PayPal if you want to make a donation that way. Thank you to everyone who helps support this channel. Take care, guys, and have a great day. Bye for now.